Umar Saab, and when he wants to attack and his army approaches, Imam Hussein calls upon Hazrat Abbas and he says, "Oh Abbas, go to Umar ibn Saad and convey to him that give us the permission so that we can pray tonight, we can worship tonight, and we would fight tomorrow if that is necessary." And when Umar ibn Saad insists, some of his companions say, "Oh Umar ibn Saad, what has happened to you?" Even if the kuffar would say, even if the disbelievers would demand something like this, we would allow that. Why would you not allow this to the grandson of the Holy Prophet? My dear brothers and sisters, the companions of Imam Hussein, and Imam prayed all night, worshipped all night, and after the day breaks in and the azan of Ali Akbar, narration says that Imam Hussein had a muazzin, the reciter of the azan, on every day, but this was a special day. Imam Hussein picked Ali Akbar, who resembled in his resemblance, in his voice, is in raftar and guftar, in every action was manifested as if it was Prophet of Allah. And Imam Hussein calls upon this beloved son, "Ali Akbar, you are going to call for azan today." Ali Akbar calls for the azan, and when Ali Akbar says Allahu Akbar, on the other side Hur is listening, and Hur realizes now is the time for me to take the decision, and Hur walks into the army of Imam Hussein along with his son. In the meantime, my dear brothers and sisters, Imam Hussein, knowing Bani Umayyah, knowing their strategies and how they would deceive and how they would attack from all sides, Imam Hussein had dug a trench. Imam Hussein had asked his companions to dig a trench behind the camps of Ahlul Bayt, so that if the enemy would try to attack from behind, they are protected. But in the morning, Imam Hussein also ensured that that trench is filled with wood, and that is burnt so that the enemy would not cross over. And one of the Mala'in, one of the cursed ones, already come from behind, and when he sees the fire burning, he looks at Hussein and calls upon Hussein and say, "Oh Hussein, are you hastening to burn in the fire? You have not arrived to the fire of hell." This is the guts and the courage that the army of Yazid had. Imam Hussein asked his followers, "Who is this person?" And they say that this is so and so person. Imam Hussein right away raises his hands and say, "Allahumma, oh Allah, make him burn into the fire of hell." And the moment Imam says this, he slips, his horse enters into the trench, and he burns into the fire of hell. My dear brothers and sisters, Imam Hussein, with the supernatural power that Allah had given him, could have overcome the difficulties. But Imam Hussein, just as Imam Ali, just as Rasulullah would give this guidance to the humanly means to the society, here it was not about miracles that Imam Hussein wanted to show, but Imam Hussein was ensuring that people would testify that this son of Rasulullah had that power. Another person approaches, another person dares exactly like this, "Oh Hussein, today you will not get a drink of water, today you will not get a drop of water, you shall go to hell and your companions shall go to hell." And Imam Hussein says, "Allahumma, oh Allah, make him die thirsty." And the narration says that the person died the same day with thirst, and he could not drink a drop of water. My dear brothers and sisters, Imam Hussein had the divine power, but Imam Hussein was testing the ummah of Rasulullah. Imam Hussein was ensuring that Surat-e-Mustaqim is upheld by humanly means. And therefore, as the battle started, Hur ibn Yazid Riyahi and his son went into the battlefield, and the companions started one after the other who wanted to sacrifice their lives, starting from all the other companions. In a few minutes or a few hours, narration says that all the companions of Imam Hussein were martyred in the way of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And now was the turn of the loved ones, and the loved ones started going one after the other. Qasim wanted to go, and he approached Imam, and when the Imam declined, Qasim brings brings the letter that Imam Hassan alayhi salam had written and had told Qasim, "Oh Qasim, when you are in a difficulty that you cannot solve and it is the greatest problem of your life, you should open this letter." And what Qasim sees is the letter of his father to his brother Hussein, saying, "Hussein, permit Qasim to go into the battlefield," because this is Hassan who had said on his deathbed, "La yawma ka yawma ya Aba Abdullah." There is no other day like your day, Ya Hussein. Qasim is martyred. Honor Muhammad had been sacrificed. The children of Zainab had been sacrificed, and one after the other they are willing to go and sacrifice. My dear brothers and sisters, ajrukum alallah, ajrukum alallah. Do not feel shy in crying. Today is Ashura, and we want to extend our condolences to Hazrat Zahra Salamullah alayha. Let us be proud of being the followers of Hussein. Today we have the honor of mourning. This is Ajr Risalat. This is the reward for the prophethood that the Prophet of Allah, by the command of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, had conveyed to us when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Holy Quran, قُلْ لَا أَسْأَلُكُمْ عَلَيْهِ أَجْرًا إِلَّا الْمَوَدَّةَ فِي الْقُرْبَى. O Prophet, tell them that I do not seek any reward except for the love of my dear ones, the love of my loved ones, the love of my Ahl al-Bayt. My dear brothers and sisters, the loved ones were going into the battlefield. Honor Muhammad were martyred into the battlefield, but you do not see tears rolling out from Zainab Kubra, the sister of Imam Hussein, and in fact she does prostrate, she does sajda, she does sujood when the bodies of On and Muhammad they arrive into the tents of Imam Hussein bring, and Zainab is saying, "Oh Allah, I thank you for this honor. However, you Allah, I would want the grandson of the Holy Prophet Hussein to be saved from this calamity that he is being confronted." The time came when Ali Akbar asked his father, "Oh my father, I would like to go. Please give me permission of the battlefield." What can Hussein say? Ali Akbar is the same son. When Hussein looks at him, he reminds him of Rasulullah. And in fact, Imam Hussein looks up into the sky and says, "Oh Allah, when I would want to see the face of your beloved Rasulullah, I would look at Ali Akbar. I would do the ziyarah of Ali Akbar. Oh Allah, I am sending this youth now who resembles exactly like your prophet. Oh Allah." Ali Akbar goes inside the tents, asks Zainab, takes permission from Layla, his mother. How can they give permission? In fact, Hamid ibn Muslim says, when Ali Akbar was leaving the tent of the Ahlul Bayt, it almost seems like a funeral was leaving. This is the comparison that was drawn. Only when Ali Akbar was leaving and the last Hussein was leaving, Ali Akbar goes into the battlefield and fights to his level best. But how can he fight with thousands and thousands? A time comes when he says, "Assalamu alayka ya Aba Abdullah, Assalamu alayka ya ibn Rasulullah." Hussein goes into the battlefield. Aina Ali Akbar, where are you, my beloved Ali Akbar? Hussein watches and sees that Ali Akbar is holding his hands towards his chest because the spear is inside of his chest. Hussein turns his sleeves and says, "Bismillah wa billah ala millati Rasulillah." Hussein takes out the spear from the chest of Ali Akbar and the blood oozes out and Ali Akbar passes away. Hussein had lost Ali Akbar but does not have the strength to carry the body of Ali Akbar. He calls upon the children of Bani Hashim, "O children of Bani Hashim, come, I cannot raise the body of my dead son." My dear brothers and sisters, another tragedy, another calamity that fell upon Hussein was the martyrdom of Abbas. This is Abbas who was the source of inspiration, who was the source of strength not only to Hussein but to the companions of Hussein, to the family of Hussein, to the children of Hussein. On one side, Abbas is the commander of the army. On the other side, Abbas is the Sakha of Sayyid al-Shuhada and Ahl Haram. We find when Abbas wanted to go into the battlefield, Imam Hussein does not permit permit Abbas. He does not permit Abbas. And when Abbas insists and says, Ya Imam, let me go where my fighters have gone, Imam says, Oh Abbas, if you want to go into the battlefield, why don't you fetch some water? And calls upon his daughter Sukaina, and Sukaina becomes very, very happy, and she calls upon all the children, and then she says, children, our thirst is over now because my uncle Abbas is going, and I'm sure he's going to bring water to us. But my dear brothers and sisters, Abbas goes, but Abbas does not return. And when Abbas calls upon Hussein, Hussein says, Al-an inkasara zahri. Oh Abbas, you have not passed away. My back was broken. When Hussein goes into the battlefield seeking the body of Abbas, first he finds the hands of Abbas. And also, my dear brothers and sisters, my heart tells me that I should say this narration to you, that I told you about how Hur ibn Yazid al-Riyahi, when Imam says, may your mother cry upon you, Hur ibn Yazid al-Riyahi does not dare to speak back to Imam Hussein about his mother. Calling the name of mother was in Arab tradition considered to be humiliation. But when Abbas had fallen, nobody could dare call the mother of Hussein. But when Abbas had fallen and Hussein comes into the battlefield, the cries of the enemy comes, Maza tafali ibn al-Zahra, O son of the Zahra, what are you doing? What are you looking? Abbas is gone, and now the enemy has the courage to humiliate Hussein by calling upon his mother. When Hussein arrives at the body of Abbas, the wasiya and the will of Abbas is that my Imam, please do not take my body into the camps of Ahl Haram. I do not have courage to see Sakina. Now Hussein has no one. Hussein is looking on the left, Hussein is looking on the right, and there is no companion, there is no friend. And Hussein calls upon, Hussein seeks help. Hal min Nasir yansurna. Is there anybody who's willing to help Ahl Haram? Is anybody there to help the Ahlul Bayt? And there is a cry in the tents, and that is Ali al-Asghar, the youngest child of Imam Hussein, who is the 6-month-old baby in Karbala. And Imam Hussein comes inside, and Rabab says, when when Ali Asghar heard your words of Hal min Nasir yansurna, Ali Asghar became very, very anxious. Imam takes Ali al-Asghar. I spoke to you last night about the martyrdom of Ali Asghar. My dear brothers and sisters, Imam Hussein takes Ali Asghar so that he could provide him or quench his thirst. But when Imam is coming back, Ali Asghar, his body is drenched in blood, and the arrow of Harmala has pierced his neck, and Imam would like to come back. The amal that we do in the day of Ashura, we move forward and backward 7 times. Inna lillah wa inna ilayhi raji'un. This was what Imam had done. Imam would go forward and then Imam would come backward. How would Imam give this Ali Asghar, a 6-month-old baby, to his mother when Imam had promised that he would fetch the thirst of Ali Asghar? When Imam approaches Rabab, Imam consoles her, and Rabab says, Oh Ali Asghar, children of your age, can they also be slaughtered? Especially the slaughtering of that of a camel, can they also be nahr? Oh Ali Asghar. Imam alayhi salam takes the body of Ali Asghar behind the tents, and then he digs the grave of Ali Asghar, and he lays the body of Ali Asghar. And then when Imam rises up, he comes towards the camp of Ahlul Bayt and calls upon his family. Ya Ruqayya, Ya Kulsum, Ya Zainab, alayka kunna minni salam. This is my last farewell to all of you. The moment children and women hear that Hussein is leaving, there is nobody else in men. Imam Hussein comes into the tent and wakes up Imam Sajjad Sajjad alayhi salam. And when he wakes up, Imam Sajjad alayhi salam was very, very sick. Imam says, I was unconscious. When consciousness came into me, I saw my father, but I could not recognize my father. I could not recognize my father. How can the Imam recognize his father when the blood of Ali Asghar is on the face of Imam? When Abbas is gone and the back of Imam is broken? When Ali Akbar is gone and the eyesight of the Imam is gone? When Imam Hussein says, Imam Sajjad says, oh my father, why are you leaving towards the battlefield? What happened to your companions? Imam says they are all martyred. Then Imam Sajjad says, what happened to our loved ones, our brothers? They have all fallen and they have all been martyred in the way of Allah. What about my uncle Abbas? Imam alayhi salam replies, oh Sajjad, there is no one amongst men except for you and me, and it is the will. And Imam Sajjad tries to rise up and says to his aunt Zainab, oh Aunt Zainab, bring me my sword. I would go into the battlefield. Imam Hussein says, oh Sajjad, this is not your duty. You have a bigger message to convey. You have to convey the message of Karbala, and you are sick, and you shall convey the message to them. And here is the point, my dear brothers and sisters. Imam had remembered us. And when he was doing the wasiyah, he said, oh Sajjad, when you return to Medina, do say salam to my followers and my Shias. Tell them when they would drink cold water, to remember my thirst, and tell them that I was killed. I was innocent when I was killed. And tell them, oh Sajjad, that I remembered them very much when I was taking 6 months old Ali Asghar towards the camp, and I did not have the courage to go inside. And then the Imam comes towards Hazrat Zainab, Sayyida Zainab, and says to Zainab, oh Zainab, bring those tabarrukat that my mother had given. Bring me that shirt that my brother had sewn for me. Hazrat Zainab realizes that Zahra had sewn the shirt for Imam Hussein, and had told her, oh Zainab, when your brother Hussein would ask for this shirt, you would know that he is not going to return. Hazrat Zainab brings the shirt that was made by Hazrat Zahra. Imam Hussein wears that, and then Imam Hussein consoles Hazrat Zainab and says, Zainab, you have to demonstrate patience. You have to show that you are my sister. You have to show that you are daughter of Ali ibn Abi Talib. However, the followers, all the women, and especially the servant Fizza, whom Imam would call as a mother, would say, oh Hussein, do not leave us like this. We know that we will not get the opportunity to mourn you, so let us mourn you before you leave. And the narration says, Imam Hussein is standing in the middle, and the women make a circle, and they are calling upon, Wa Husaina, Wa Aliya, Wa Fatima, and women are mourning. Imam would like to leave, and Hamid ibn Muslim says that when Imam was leaving, it was looking as if that a body at a funeral was leaving. Yes, there was nobody, and now Imam goes on his horse, and Imam goes towards his right, but then he sees on the left and then on the right, and there is nobody who would mount the Imam, who would help him mount on his horse. Imam sees on his left and right, only to find Zainab coming and saying, oh my beloved brother, I would help you out. And Hazrat Zainab helps Imam alayhi salam to mount on Zuljana, on the horse that Imam, and now Zuljana is not moving. Imam Hussein looks upon Zuljana and says, oh my beloved horse, your services are unthankable. I cannot thank for the services you have rendered to me today. This is the last service you have to do. This is the last time I'm going to be going into the Makhtal. But the Zuljana points Imam alayhi salam downwards. When Imam alayhi salam looks downwards, he finds her 4-year-old daughter. So Sukaina, Ruqayya, oh my beloved father, I would not let you go towards the battlefield. Whoever goes, whenever returns, if you would want to go, then you should take me to Medina, to my grandfather's shrine. Imam Hussein consoles Sakina and consoles her and says, oh my beloved daughter, you have to have lot of patience. You have to be patient with your mother from now onwards. I know you would like to sleep in my arms, but from tonight, Ali Asghar is going to sleep in my arms, and you are going to sleep in the arms of Rabah. Oh Sukaina, beware that you are becoming an orphan. You are close to becoming an orphan. But when Sukaina would think of an orphan she knows when Muslim ibn Aqil was martyred, how compassionate Imam Hussein was. But that is not the case, my dear brothers. On Asr Ashur, that would not be the case. Imam Hussein leaves towards the battlefield, and he goes and he speaks to Umar ibn Saad. He speaks to the army of Yazid. He speaks to the army of Ibn Ziyad and calls upon them and asks them, don't you know who I am? And they say, yes, we know who you are. And then the Imam says, am I not the grandson of the Holy Prophet? They say, yes, you are the grandson of the Holy Prophet. Then the Imam says, don't you know that I am the son of Ali ibn Abi Talib? They say, yes, we know that you are the son of Ali ibn Abi Talib. And then the Imam says, don't you know that I am the son of the daughter of the Holy Prophet? And they all acknowledge, yes, we know that you are the son of the daughter of the Holy Prophet. Then why would you want to fight with me? What is the cause that you would want to fight with me? And they respond, لِبُغْزِ أَبِي, for the hatred of your father Ali ibn Abi Talib. This is Bani Umayyah speaking when Imam does the Hujjah, and then he speaks to Umar ibn Saad. If the fight is inevitable, then Umar ibn Saad, can you go with the Arab tradition of fighting, the rules of engagement that Arabs have declared upon themselves? Umar ibn Saad says, yes, I would agree to that. And the rules of engagement was that one person would fight only with one person. A one-to-one combat would take place, and Umar ibn Saad agrees to this. But even before this, my dear brothers and sisters, when Umar ibn Saad is talking to the Imam says, I cannot hear what you're saying. Can you ask these people to keep quiet? And the narration says that Umar ibn Saad commands his army, and the army is quiet now, but the sound of the hoofs of the horses is still there, and there is a lot of noise. And Imam Hussein says, oh Umar ibn Saad, make them all quiet. And Umar ibn Saad says, oh grandson of the Holy Prophet, you are aware that I have control over men. I do not have control over animals. How can I stop the animals from doing it? And the Imam raises his hand and points towards them, and all the horses are quiet. It seems like a pin drop silence in Karbala, and nobody is speaking except for the Imam. And when it is agreed that the battle would have one-on-one combat, they start and they come, and they start attacking the Imam one-on-one, and Imam starts sending them towards the hellfire, and Imam starts killing them. Then Umar ibn Saad says, one is not enough, 5 should go and attack Hussein. 5 are going and they are attacking Hussein. That was not enough. Hussein would kill them all, and then 10 started coming, and then 100 started coming, and Imam Hussein also became very, very angry. And Imam says, what do you think? If I am thirsty, I am the son of Ali ibn Abi Talib. I am the son of Fatah Khaybar. What do you think? I am not brave. I can fight with you. And Imam Hussein attacks the army of Yazid, and the army of Yazid starts running away from the Imam. And the narration says that the Imam would make an attack, and the army would run away. Then Imam would come back and stand behind the camp, stand behind the tent, and the children and the women could see that the Imam is alive. Maybe Imam is consoling them that do not worry, I am still alive. And when the army would start coming towards the Imam, he would go and make an attack and start killing and sending them towards the hellfire. But how long could the Imam fight? The enemy started. Harmala was there. Umar ibn Saad draws a strategy and calls upon Harmala calls upon Sinan ibn Anas, and they make a strategy to point arrow towards the Imam. An arrow comes and pierces into the forehead of the Imam. Imam alayhi salam is shaking on his faras, on his horse. Then a spear comes and pierces into the heart of the Imam, and the enemy sees that Imam is shaking on the ground, and then there is a rain of arrows that are sent towards the Imam. Nobody has the courage to come near the Imam. Those who did not have arrows would take up stones and attack the Imam until Imam would come down. You are aware where would every time that when a shaheed would come down, Imam alayhi salam would go on his aid, but there is no one to come down. Imam calls upon his mother, Ya Zahra, oh my mother, come to my aid. Fatima is in Karbala. Imam alayhi salam is coming down in Ziyarat Nahiya. We call upon the Imam. Our 12th Imam calls upon Imam Hussein and says, to my beloved grandfather, whose body was not on the mount and not on the ground, and all the arrows, there was a bed of arrows on which Imam Hussein was lying. And Imam Hussein, the enemy does not have the courage to come close to Imam Hussein. They do not have the courage. They plan a strategy. How could we know that Hussein is dead or not? They say, let us say loudly that we are going to attack the Ahl Haram. We are going to attack the camps and the tents of Ahl Haram. And the moment they say that, Imam Hussein rises up and says, why, what happened to you? I am still alive. If you have courage, come and fight with me. But the time comes, my dear brothers and sisters, Imam Hussein is on the ground and nobody can dare come. Those who come to sever his head, and they return, and when Shimr asks them, they say, how can we cut off the head of Hussein? When we go, we do not see him. We see Rasulullah. When we go, we see his face glowing with light. How can we do that? Shimr Malun, he does not listen. He says, if you cannot do it, then I am going to come and do it. Saying this, Shimr Malun comes upon Imam Hussein and rises on the chest of Imam Hussein and holds the beard of Imam Hussein and severs the head of Imam Hussein from the body. And when the head of Imam Hussein is severed, here Zain al-Kubra is coming out and calling upon Umar ibn Saad. Oh, Umar ibn Saad, you are watching, and the grandson of the Holy Prophet is being killed. And then there was earthquake, and the skies became dark. And in the meantime, when the head of Imam Hussein was separated, Imam Sajjad awakens from his unconsciousness and says, oh Zainab, take me towards outside of the tent. When he goes outside, he looks towards the Khatlga and says, Assalamu alayka ya Aba Abdullah, Assalamu alayka ya Ibn Rasulullah. And when Sakina heard, the only question she had was, my father given water before he was martyred.
See him one last time. Zainab, run to him. Zainab, run to him. Zainab, run to him. See him one last time. Zainab, run to him. Zainab, run to him. Your voices. Zainab, run to him. See him one last time. Zainab, run to him. Zainab, run to her. Zainab, run to her. See him one last time. All together. Zainab, run to her. Zainab, run to her. Zainab, run to her. See him one last time. Zainab, run to her. Zainab, run to her. Zainab, run to her. See him one last time. Zainab, run to him. Zainab, run to Jana. See him one last time. What a wondrous scene. Flower in the plain. Wounded Lord Hussein lying here to die. What a wondrous scene. Flower in the plain. My wounded Lord Hussein lying there to die. Nothing does he see but his grandfather, his heavenly mother, come here to our side. Nothing does he see but his grandfather, his heavenly mother, come here to our side. Everyone, Zainab, run to her. Zainab, run to her. Zainab, run to her. See him one last time. Zainab, run to him. The children come forward. To her, see him one last time. Zainab, run to her. MashaAllah. Zainab, run to her. Zainab, run to her. See him one last time. Zainab, run to him. All the kids, come on. See him one last time. One more time. Zainab, run to him. Zainab, run to him. Zainab, run to her. See him one last time. Zainab, run to him. Zainab, MashaAllah. Shine the blood upon his face, the blood upon his neck. Oh, still better than what will happen next. The blood upon his face, the blood upon his neck. Oh, still better than what will happen next. Soldiers crowding round, pointing to his throat. The Imam of his time, he lies upon the ground. Soldiers crowding round, pointing to his throat. The Imam of his time, he lies upon the ground. Zainab, run to, hey! Zainab, run to, hey! Zainab, run to him. See him one last time. Zainab, run to him. Send all the children forward. All the young, come on. Zainab, run last time. Zainab, run to her. Zainab, run to her. Zainab, run to him. See him one last time, all of you. Zainab, run to him. Zainab, run to him. MashaAllah. Zainab, run to him. See him one last time. The dust upon your eyes, the feeling in your throat, the desperate children's cry.